Imagine standing on a crumbling cliffside, looking out over the grey, churning waters of the North Sea. Beneath those waves, shrouded in silt and darkness, lies a sea. It is not a shipwreck or a natural reef. It is a ghost city, a city that was once the capital of an ancient kingdom, a rival to London itself, with grand palaces, 18 magnificent churches, and a bustling harbor that connected it to the entire known world. Today, it is gone, but local legends say that when the tide is high and the wind howls from the east, you can still hear the muffled, haunting ring of church bells coming from the depths of the ocean floor. Welcome to Dunwich, the Atlantis of Britain. Today, on Fossilized Facts, we are diving into the abyss to unearth the story of a city that was literally eaten by the sea. To understand the tragedy of Dunwich, we have to travel back 800 years. In the 13th century, Dunwich was a titan of trade. It was one of the largest settlements in England, a massive port filled with merchants, knights, and monks. It was the seat of religious power and a bastion of the economy. If you lived in Dunwich in the year 1250, you felt invincible. You lived in a city protected by massive earthworks and stone walls. But Dunwich had a silent, relentless enemy, the very sea that made it wealthy. The geography of this region is built on soft sand and fragile clay. While the people of Dunwich were building cathedrals, the North Sea was slowly carving away at the foundation of their world. Then the weather turned in 1286. A great storm of biblical proportions hit the coast. The surge of water was so powerful it choked the harbor with silt and sand, cutting off the city's lifeline to the sea. But that was just the beginning. Imagine the terror of a citizen in the 14th century. You wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of a deafening crack. You look out your window to see that the streets in front of your house and the 3 houses across from you have simply vanished. They didn't just collapse, they fell into the ocean as the cliff beneath them disintegrated, street by street. The city was reclaimed by the waves. The records from this time are heartbreaking. One by one, the great churches began to teeter on the edge of the abyss. St. Nicholas, St. Martin, St. Peter. Each time a church fell, the townspeople could do nothing but watch as the consecrated ground and the graves of their ancestors tumbled into the surf. By the year 1700, the once great city was a shadow of its former self. The most famous moment in the death of Dunwich occurred at the Church of All Saints. For years, it sat precariously on the edge of a 100-foot cliff. In 1904, the last of its towers finally succumbed to gravity, crashing into the sea. By 1919, the very last piece of the last church was gone. Dunwich had become a rotten borough, a town that technically existed on maps but had no people, no buildings, and no land. For decades, the story of Dunwich was treated as a local folktale. Skeptics argued that the sea would have ground the buildings into dust centuries ago. They said the ghost bells were just the imagination of sailors. But in recent years, science has stepped in to prove that the fossilized facts are real. Using advanced side scans, sonar, and underwater acoustic imaging technology that allows us to see through the murky, zero-visibility water, archaeologists from the University of Southampton discovered something incredible. Deep under the silt, they found them. The ruins. They mapped the foundations of St. Peter's Church and the Master's House. they found the remains of the town's guild. These aren't just piles of rubble. They are structured ruins, frozen in time under the waves. The sonar images showed the distinct shapes of Gothic windows and massive stone pillars lying flat on the seabed. The city is still there. It's just living in a different world now. But what about the bells? The legend of the sunken bells of Dunwich is one of the most famous ghost stories in the UK. Skeptics say it's impossible for a bell to ring underwater. However, acoustics experts suggest that in the violent turbulence of a North Sea storm, heavy objects on the seabed can be moved. Could the heavy bronze bells of the fallen cathedrals still be down there, rocking in the current, striking their clappers against the stone ruins? Or is it, as the locals believe, the city's way of reminding the world that it hasn't been forgotten? The story of Dunwich is a sobering reminder of the power of nature. It teaches us that even the most powerful empires and the most solid stone walls are no match for the slow, patient erosion of time. Dunwich didn't fall to an invading army or a sudden fire. It was simply erased by the tide. As we look at our own coastal cities today, facing rising sea levels and changing climates, the ghost city of Dunwich feels less like a legend and more like a warning. It is a fossilized fact of what happens when the land we stand on decided to return to the sea. What do you think lies in the future for our coastal cities? Will they share the fate of Dunwich, becoming legends for the explorers of the next millennium? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this deep sea excavation fascinating, hit the like button and subscribe to Fossilized Facts. We travel to the ends of the earth and the depths of the ocean to bring you the stories time tried to bury. I'm your host, and this was the lost city of Dunwich. Until the next tides, keep searching for the truth.